Hello, you all. I was in Mexico in 1980. I found myself there. And I happened to stumble upon a very interesting community based in a small village called San Juan Chamula. And there was something happening there because there was no priest anymore. Catholicism had ceased altogether. And the reason was that they got so fed up with the man that they just carried him out of the village and said he should go back to his bishop. And what happened then that the shamans took over, and it was really amazing because the church was all empty. It was completely filled with pine needles, and the saints were just standing on scaffolds, and people were actually saying, I want to have this and I want to do this, and you're going to take care of it. And as soon as the saint in question, you know, one of these beautiful wooden statues, would not do it, an Indian, one of the inhabitants of the village, would carry the saints to the river and would drown the saints, physically. And they did it with great precision. It was not just drowning the saint. No, there was one man I saw, you know, just doing this act in the river, and he had a watch, you know, a kind of knock-off Rolex, and he just looked at it and he just pushed down a saint, 30 seconds. Then it was 60 seconds, so it just, you know, went up. And it was quite amazing that I was looking at it, and I just was really amazed by the fact that it was so precise. It had a kind of precision, and what I liked as well, that there was proximity. There was a kind of nearness. There was a kind of active involvement, and there was really something that was very close and very intimate between this wooden statue and this man. So you know, at that time I really couldn't place it in the way maybe I would be able to place it right now, you know, 30-odd years later. But this kind of feeling of proximity is something that really has been all-pervading also my thoughts I have about what is happening to spirituality, what's happening to religion, and what's happening to technology. What you see here are two circles, and one, you can see it, everybody knows the logo, it's NASA, and the other one is a detail, a button, that's being sewn on a very beautiful coat from the Yakut tribe in Siberia. And I had this image already for a long time, and I actually use it in an artwork, a photo work I realized in Barendrecht, just south of Rotterdam. And, you know, it just popped up, it just came to my mind how close they are, you know, how this proximity is actually the kind of trigger for me to understand that animism, and that's basically the whole kind of sense that everything is pervaded with a conscience and with a spirit, that even inanimate things, just as rocks and rivers and trees, have a spirit. And now that I come to think of it, that the fact that singularity is near, and, you know, Ray Kurzweil, his name has been mentioned before this evening, you know, the fact that singularity is near, that there will be an end to artificial intelligence, because intelligence will be as natural can be. So as soon as the singularity is near, I think there will be the case, and there will be the phenomenon of Techno Animism, because somehow the whole feeling we have about that everything is just filled with a spirit, and everything has its own particular and very unique intelligence, actually takes us back to the animistic period. And you could say that the big monotheistic religions, such as Christianity, Islam, and so forth, actually represent a period of stagnation. So what is happening right now is that animism comes back because there's a certain logic that as soon as singularity is there, everything, intelligence will be embedded, and everything will have a conscience, and all the objects might be personas. So you will be talking to this rock exactly the same way the Greek would be talking to the rock 500 years BC. And that's something I consider to be a very beautiful notion, that techno-animism is actually bringing this kind of proximity, this kind of nearness back to us, and that our relationship with matter, or so-called non-matter, which will be matter and entities as well, is something that will be, you know, will be dominating and, you know, will be actually coloring our lives. And thinking back to this man in the river, and the way he actually was so precise in actually channeling his anger to something which had not happened to him, reminds me of a very beautiful quote by Alain Robbe-Grillet, which says, "The hallucinatory effect derives from the extraordinary clarity and not from mystery or mist. Nothing is more fantastic, ultimately, than precision." Thank you.